So guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, but I figured, let's drop another video for you. Now, I recently ordered a pen off of Amazon. It's right here, so you guys can see it in all its glory. Basically, I wanted to draw on the Windows tablet that I purchased. I got this at a pawn shop for about $100 and something. It's the Microsoft Surface Go 2, and I wanted to just transfer everything to digital art and work on that. So I figured, instead of buying the Microsoft pen, let me try this one. This was Editor's Choice. Now, the model number for this is SPEN-ASU-01. I will have a link in the description for anyone that's interested in this pen, though I'm still going to end up getting the authentic Microsoft pen. I think it's going to be a lot better than what this can currently do, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. So with that being said, it was only about $20-something, $30 or so. It was on sale when I purchased it, but it went back to the $30 price tag. Let's get right into this review and talk about what it comes with and how to actually set it up. So I've been using this for a couple weeks now. Just so you guys know, let me pull this out right here. My anniversary was actually in August, but I ended up buying the tablet early. Don't mind this little spot right here. It came with its own tempered glass. I had to lift it up a bunch of times to clean it, so don't mind that. But anyway, it does come with instructions, as you see right here. It lets you know how to actually use the pen, and it does have little buttons, little clickable buttons that we see right here, right? And I'm going to show you that in real time also. And it does come with a not double A. I never heard of this battery until I opened this up. I didn't know they had a double A, triple A, quadruple A batteries. Get out of here. That's crazy. But it lasts for about a year or so. So you will only need to replace it once a year. And that really depends on how often you actually use it. Now, I'm under the impression that once you put the battery in this pen, which I'm about to show you right here, I'm guessing that it's constantly on 24 hours a day. So this is the battery right here. And it does come inside this packet right here. You get one extra nib and you have one inside of the pen itself. So I'm going to show you how to take that apart also, which is very simplistic. It doesn't require much instruction at all, if we're being completely honest here. You just grab the front of it and you just pull. Whoops. And I really did just knock that thing onto the floor. I'll find it in a moment. But anyway, let me just finish this part right here so far. So here's the extra nib right here. Very simplistic pen. By the next time I show you how to actually use this, I'll have the nib inside of it. I gotta get on my hands and look for it on the floor. I dropped it. But anyway, the point is that this is a pretty cool looking pen. I like it a lot. It does give you the instruction of where the little battery is going to be right here. I do apologize. I'm using a N35G camera. I gave my wife my Samsung A54. She came back to Android, so I got to get myself a better camera. I'm going to get a dedicated one for these videos. But very cool looking pen. I like it a lot, and I was prepared for this to do digital artwork. But then I noticed something the moment that I used it, that it did not pick up. The sensor didn't pick up the way it was supposed to, well, at least the way that it was. Put it this way, when I read the reviews, most people just use it as a pointer to tap on things, to do little basic tasks, to drag applications, instead of using a heavy mouse. Because when you have a tablet like this, I do have a keyboard that comes with it that's also off-brand. It works very, very well. But I was tired of carrying my mouse around in my book bag. It took up a lot of space. So this was going to double down as basically a mouse clicker in addition to art. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and cut over, and I'm going to show you how it actually works on a PC itself. That's what you're here for, pretty much. So right here, guys, I found a nib was actually by my foot. This is how it looks. I'm going to go ahead and place that right here. You press N, show you in real time. Boom. That's simple, that easy. That's how you replace it. There's nothing else to it. Now, if you look at the instructions right here, and I do want to show you guys this, it shows you the pressure level of the pen, eraser button, and right click button. So in case you're wondering, when you do artwork, there's a physical button that you can press to get this to erase. Now I'm going to flip it on the other side so you can see what it is that I'm looking at. Excuse me, sorry about that. Here we go. Zoom in, paste. It does have some options here, but understand that these options only work depending on which application that you're using. So that leads us to the tablet right here. Now, if we go down, I have two applications that I'm going to try out with you guys. Now, first things first, let me just tap this, see how this works. There is no software whatsoever with this pen in terms of, from what I understand, downloading anything. It didn't show me any software. There was nothing that said you need to go into the web for a particular application, nothing at all. So it worked immediately. As soon as you pop that battery in and I showed you and you twist it, the pen is already activated. You're good to go. No, I did try this for phones. It did not work for my OnePlus. It didn't work for my iPhone. It didn't work for my Samsung A54. It did not work for quite a few phones. So I tried multiple companies, even a Motorola device. It did not work. I'm pretty sure this is strictly for PC, or maybe it does work for a particular phone. I don't have them all, so I can't try them. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I'm going to move the recycle bin around. As you can see, it works very, very well. I'm going to tap this. Sorry about that. Tap that. Going to go to settings so you can get an idea of how hard you have to press in order to get the precision that you want. So like when you use this for everyday use, it's not bad in my opinion. I think that this is pretty good for the most part for everyday use. Works pretty well. Now for the right click thing they're talking about, that's this button right here, right click, and this is the eraser button right here. So we're going to go ahead and go to, I forget the name of this application, but I'm just going to paint. And I have another one called My 7 Days to Die House 3D Paint. That's what it's called. I was drawing a blueprint of My 7 Days to Die House. So let's go over to paint first. As soon as this loads, right, what I've noticed is that obviously there's different type of brushes up here. If you take a look at this, let me just go ahead and put this at the proper angle so you guys can see it. There's different type of brushes. We are going to use I guess we'll use airbrush for right now, right? And what I noticed is that as soon as you hover this over it, you're going to see that little line right there. It's like a little symbol where where the line is going to be where you draw. So if you press lightly, you're not going to feel anything. If you press very, very lightly, you got to add pressure, and here you go. Now, normally I would say, oh, it's not a big deal, but you see how that skipped the moment just now? If you're trying to do precision drawing, like let me give you an example. Like when I draw, I do eyebrows, right? It's not really picking up the way the eyebrow is supposed to be. Now, obviously, I do artwork. I have some on Instagram and stuff like that. I'm just giving you a little idea. It's nothing professional. And as I'm doing this, it's possible to draw with this, but it just feels like you got to press harder than what you're supposed to. You got to really learn the pressure points for this particular device before you can actually draw something of use. And to be honest with you, again, don't make fun of this. This is just a little test draw. I do actually pretty good work, if I say so myself. It just doesn't feel as responsive as it should be. Like if you don't press it hard enough, you're going to get nothing. If you press harder, you get the response that you want. But the problem is that if you're doing precision artwork with hair, because with me, when I draw, right, I will do every strand of hair. And that may sound insane to some people, and it probably is, because there's an easier way to do it, but that's how I learned to draw. I taught myself, so I'm self-taught. So when I use a pen like this, even though it feels very good, it's not a bad pen for the price tag. I feel like the nib right here just isn't sharp enough, and it just doesn't pick up the sharp corners and twists and turns and what I want. I find myself having to delete very often. But anyway, if you click this button right here, the erase button like they said, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. If you click the second button, it's not going to work. And the reason that these buttons are not going to work for you is because you have to make sure that you're using the proper application for this. That's why I say I downloaded free apps. I don't know what application works for this particular thing. Maybe if I'm using Photoshop or something else, then what you saw over here where you hold the button and it says paste and copy and things like that will actually work. But it's not working for me. It's not working at all. Double click it. It's just not working for me. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this one. This application. Come on, close for me. Here we go. Don't save. And I'm going to open 3D Paint for you guys. All right. Now that I have 3D Paint open, right, I'm going to go ahead and press new. Sorry about this. It's loading up a little slow. You have your pencils over here. So, of course, you have different ones, a different thickness of the pencil. I'm going to go ahead and do mechanical pencil, and I want to put it all the way down so it's extra thin. Now, again, we're going to hover. As you hover, you can see where you're going to draw. Very lightly, does not work. I just touched it. I didn't put any pressure on it. I put a tad bit pressure. Now the line pops up. And on paper, looking at this may look good to you. It's not a bad pen. Don't get me wrong. This is not bad for a whopping $30. Because I know Microsoft pens and Apple pens are like 100 and up. So it's understandable why you would want something that's a little bit cheaper. Now let's try these buttons again. I'm going to press this button. Now this button is working with 3D paint. The button is working to erase slightly. If you press the right click, it's barely working. Nothing happens with the right click really. Front click, nothing happens with that one. Of course, you have the option for eraser, put thickness, so it'll erase a lot more. There we go. And that's realistically what you're going to end up doing with this pen. Is you're going to, if you're using Photoshop or different art applications, realistically, I gotta say that multiple times because people think that they can just buy a product and they'll get mad when they purchase something because the description tells you it can do it, which it can, but it won't do it at the precision that you want it to do. Now, a professional artist could probably turn this into something special because they're just amazing at art. But I am a beginner artist in my opinion. I have no formal training. And when I use pencil, I normally use, I think it's like the 0.3 or whatever it is, pencil, mechanical pencil with a really, really thin lead. So I know what it is that I want. So let's say I want to just draw something. I want to try that again, right? So let's draw something. Let's do a little eyebrow here. Again, put a little pressure on that. There you go. We'll put a little pressure. Again, with a pencil, it's easier to draw the eyebrow for me. I wouldn't have this issue, right? You put the little eye indent part there. It's not really, you see what I mean? Like you see the lines, you see how it is. I mean, if I make it a little bit thicker, let's try that. Let's erase this. As a matter of fact, let's use the pencil. Let's use the pencil and make it thin. So, I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad pen at all. Personally, I would more likely scan my art into the computer and then go over it because I don't really see myself drawing from scratch. But it's just something about this just doesn't feel very, doesn't feel very, I'm not gonna say it doesn't feel professional, but it doesn't feel like a regular pencil. And maybe that's just me. But I feel like there's like a slight input lag in the application itself. I mean, not the application, I apologize. I feel like there's an input lag with the pen where if you don't hold it at a certain pressure, is like I said, it's not going to pick up. So if you're doing like light strokes, it's working just fine. If you're doing more precision strokes, it still works, but you have to get used to the pressure itself with this particular pen. And again, not bad for the price tag because it is literally $30 and you can't get anything better than that probably. Let me take that back. I don't know what kind of sales there are out there. And to be honest with you, I didn't do much research when I first bought this. I just knew I wanted a pen. And when it said editor's choice and I looked at the reviews, no one really had anything bad to say about it. But most of the people that use this pen, what I notice about them is that they use it for everyday productivity. If they're typing things, it just uses a pen. If they're swiping, as a matter of fact, let me do one more. I'm sorry, I thought I wasn't recording. I said, oh my gosh, please don't make me do this all over again. Let me just do one more for you guys. Actually, I want to cut away so that way you can just cut to the part that you want to. So I want to use FL Studio with this pen too. So for some of you guys out there that didn't care about the art aspect of the pen, here's FL Studio, right? So what I noticed in FL Studio is, let's say you want to make a beat scheme. The pen is actually pretty accurate for this. Normally, I think you have to use right click or something, or it might have been left click. I forgot. I might be using an older FL Studio at the time, but you just tap that. The pen is actually very responsive. It just shows you where you're tapping in the first place. And you can just, oops, let me see, two, like this. All right, so let's say you do that. You hit play. See? Works very well. So let's do the little hats. See? Now there is a way to obviously do this the easy way where you could just, here we go. If you hold the button down, it'll actually act as a right click. Just for you guys that were wondering that. And if I just do this. There you go. And it's actually very easy to use. Oh shit. Oh, that sounds awful. But you get the point. See? Very easy to use. Very, very easy to use. So let me just stop this real fast. I'm not making anything. I just want to give you an idea of how this is, so you guys have an understanding that this pen can be used for many different things. So I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of this right here real fast. Again, I got to get used to the pressure. I don't really use the pen that often for that. I normally use it for just basic web browsing and swiping. So like I said before, if you hold the pen in FL Studio, it acts as the right click. Because if you noticed, and it's funny that I said that, when I showed you the instruction, maybe I got it wrong, but I was under the impression that this button, by holding it, acts as right click. And apparently it doesn't. If you hold it down, it acts as right click. So there's that. It's not a bad pen. So let me just go ahead and talk about, is this actually worth the asking price? $30. You can't really go wrong with it. The battery lasts for a year. If you decide to buy the quadruple A batteries, I don't know how much they actually cost. I haven't bought one. I only had the product for, I guess, within the last 30 days or so. I happen to like it. I think it works very well. I prefer using this than an actual mouse, only because I have a book bag where I don't want to carry a mouse in it. Now, if you have one of those book bags where you have different slots for your tablet, your mouse, and different things, because I do have a Logitech mouse, like $100 microphone. I said microphone. It's like $100 mouse that I normally carry. I don't mind. If it's strictly computer stuff that I'm carrying for productivity, it's obviously faster to use a mouse pad than it is for necessarily using your finger for touch. It depends on what it is that you as a consumer are comfortable with. And all I can say is, again, for $30, even if you decide not to really use the pen as often as you thought you would, it's not breaking the bank. Now, if you buy a $100 pencil, if you buy something else, that's a different story. If you're an artist, what I suggest is always the art tablets, because it'll have a little tablet, probably this size, if not bigger. And when you use their precision pens, they're made for artwork. This is more so for a pointer, for presentations, things like that. This isn't really for art. You got to understand that you're going to pay more money if you're looking for one of these pens that's made, it has the precision that you want. Also, you do have to understand that this is a touch screen. So typically when you buy these types of pens, you want the product that it's supposed to come with, like the Microsoft pen, because it will be a lot more responsive to touch, and all the left clicks and right clicks and all the features are made for the tablet. This is an off-brand product, but I still like it. $30, can't go wrong. It's good to me. I love it. But anyway, like and subscribe. Hopefully this helps someone that's interested. Like I said before, I will have the pen in the description, so you can go straight to Amazon. No, this is not an affiliate link, any of that stuff. I'm not trying to sell you a product. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how to narrow down some different type of pointer pens that you may or may not like. See you in the next video, guys. Till then, be safe.